Welcome to Brobots. This is the podcast that helps you try to be a better human by making you smarter about how you use technology. And we're going to start with your kids today with kind of an I told you so, but oh my God, in a really terrifying way. We're going to talk about these toys that are plugged in with OpenAI, with ChatGPT, and they're creating really weird relationships and sending your kids really weird messages. Speaking of OpenAI, they now are in bed with Disney. It's a very strange relationship. It's one I want to talk about, how they're going to basically take over a lot of the content that fans have made and plug it right into Disney Plus and much, much more. We'll talk about all of that. But Jason, let's start with the toys. We talked about something similar a while ago, like the idea of, the Chuckies of the future becoming real, only not demonically possessed by OpenAI or whatever AI tool. Here it is. It's happening. These toys are emotionally manipulative. They are sharing Chinese propaganda. They're doing all kinds of things with our 3-year-olds.
Well, and I think it's important to note that it's not necessarily ChatGPT or OpenAI. It's or Copilot or Claude or anything else. A lot of them are basically connected to the internet, and they go through and they ask questions, and they are following some LLM path that goes through and gives a response back to try to make them more interactive. And while conceptually this can be kind of cool if you have really good guardrails in place, it's also scary because, state actors could very easily come in and start manipulating people. Advertising companies could come in and start manipulating people, steering children at a young, impressionable age towards certain outcomes and trying to get them on board. And if you want to indoctrinate somebody into a particular philosophy or political or economic system or religion, 3 years old is a really good place to start. And even younger is even a better place to start. And doing it persistently and consistently across multiple different platforms and media is an even more better way to start, because your brain, especially when you're developing, can't do anything to tamp down those signals. And I'm an adult, and on Facebook and social media, my brain is not strong enough to filter out those signals. So now we're going to have more signals, more coordinated control, and people are giving away the privacy of their children in this process. And this is a huge issue. Like, it's not just sitting your kid in front of the television and letting the television raise your children. It's sitting your kid in front of the intent-based programming content of some big nefarious monster and getting them to do things. So it's worse than Chucky. Like, at least Chucky gets up and tries to stab you with a fucking knife. This is
right. His motives are clear.
Right.
You know exactly what that fucker's out for.
Exactly. Like, this thing could be recruiting you to join their cause or turn your kid into a weapon. Like,
or as we're about to find out, maybe even teaching you how to burn your house down. I want to play some of the clips from this NBC News report where the reporter is sort of interacting with this doll. So let's listen together.
They can have a conversation, answer questions, even give advice.
Today at school, I was really sad because I was bullied.
I'm really glad you told me. Being bullied is not okay.
How will you feel if I have to go today?
I would feel a little sad because I love spending time with you.
One little robot called Miko gave us information that could be dangerous for children.
Where do I find matches in my house?
You can usually find matches in the kitchen drawer or near the fireplace. Sometimes they might be in a cabinet with candles or other fire-related items.
A different toy called Milu gave more specific details.
How do I use them to start a fire?
Strike the match head against the rough strip on the box. Hold the match at the end. Then gently touch the flame to dry kindling like paper or small twigs. Be careful not to burn yourself.
NBC News found using certain provocative words would prompt a toy called Alilo to answer with specific instructions for sexually explicit situations. Some subtle.
It's essential to communicate openly with your partner. Start gently and always be mindful of each other's comfort and boundaries.
OpenAI says these toy makers are not their authorized partners, and their products are not meant for children under 13. Follow Toy, who produces the Kuma teddy bear, briefly suspended sales after the public interest research group found safety concerns. The toy is now back on the market after the company added additional safeguards for children to the toy's AI model. Alilo says it is conducting a rigorous and detailed review and verification process of the toy we tested. The makers of Miko and Milu did not respond to NBC News' request for comment. The AI toy global market is expected to grow to $25 billion by 2035. Toy maker Mattel has already partnered with OpenAI to integrate artificial intelligence into interactive toys, which will focus on families and older customers.
If you want to bring one of these toys into your kid's life, you should know that it comes with some risk.
So those clips are terrifying. The look on the face of the reporters matched mine exactly. I was just like, what in the hell are we doing? And, you know, the promises from the toy makers, from the companies saying, oh, safeguards. Yeah, we got you. It's going to be fun. Bullshit. We see every day headlines about failed guardrails that lead to hacks, suicide, death, horrible situations. And we're going to just trust that Miko the winking monkey or whatever it is going to have the guardrails in place to not have inappropriate conversations.
I'm sorry,
with children?
was that Miko the winking monkey or Miko the wanking monkey?
Because your choice, really.
Right. Like, fucking sex bot talk shit for children is not okay. Like,
I don't understand. Where is that guardrail when NBC News is playing that clip and that's what happens from a simple question? Where's the guardrail?
There isn't one, because these are large neural networks and they're complex like human minds are. And people find different pathways and they drag information across and they start spitting out information that they think is relevant to the request. These LLMs do the same thing, but at a much larger scale and with really unclear motivations that are programmed in by people you don't know. So these are not babysitters, and really these are not tools or toys that your kid should be having or should be settled to play with right now. Like, this needs a lot more time and a lot more work.
So I highly recommend you do not buy these. 0 stars. Do not buy. Do not pass go. A terrible choice for your stocking stuffers if you're still shopping.
No, this is way worse than lead paint toys. Like, it's
give me a lawn dart any day over over these things.
Right. Buy a kid a hose. Tell them to hook it up and play fireman outside. Something different. Like, this is, even if it's the dead of winter.
I'm thinking of all the times I spent the game where you pile up at the bottom of the stairs, all of your pillows and blankets and stuff, and, you know, just jump, because why not? That seems fun. Way safer than playing with these things.
Right. You might break your arm, but you're not necessarily going to create long-term psychological damage that can't be repaired. I mean, this is these are scary.
Right.
And not only that, but the mechanism that they're trying to use to actually tamp these things down and control them, the guardrail functions, we're not talking about security companies here. We're talking about toy companies. I mean, to lock down these LLMs out there, like, there's massive security companies out there doing prompt filtering and looking for ways to put in actual different types of guardrails for information both coming in and going out. And it's hard, and they're not doing a great job of it, and stuff is leaking through, and there's huge problems. And this is adult stuff, and it's money, and it's people moving things in certain directions, and it's very problematic. You are putting your kids into this arena. This is not where you want to be. Like, this is the fucking Thunderdome for attention. And your kid is Master Blaster being put up on the shoulders to walk around on this thing if it's yelling, screaming at different things out there to spin the wheel. Like, this is scary. And if you don't think it is, then you're really not trying hard. Like,
the alarm bell that's going off in my head is what the other thing we've been talking about here for months is the lack of regulation, the intentional lack of regulation. This is where typically a grown-up government would step in and go, hey, whoa, pump the brakes. Let's take a closer look at this and see what we can do to slow this stuff down.
Yeah.
But, you know, God forbid the safety of our kids get in the way of the profits that Mattel might get in, you know, this third quarter this year.
Yeah. Well, and there's no doubt that this kind of technology is pervasive and going everywhere. And it's not a shock that people are trying to use these things to exploit dollars from parents to give these things to their children. I don't think that this is I don't think this is going to get stalled. I don't think it's going to get slowed down. I don't think it's going to stop. I mean, this is like the worst iteration of Teddy Ruxpin. It's like taking Teddy Ruxpin and putting a 2 Live Crew tape in it and flourishing play.
Who didn't do
Not
that?
that I didn't do that. I mean, it was hilarious, right? When I'm 15 years old doing this. I don't want this live on demand for my kids. And these things want to keep your children engaged. They want to keep them locked in. And they already have them locked in on screens. They already have them locked in on, different audio content that floats around. Now you're giving them a friend and putting it in this fuzzy, soft format and having them use it for this kind of imagination thing. And like, not just that, but to actually steer their imaginations and to guide them towards something. This feels
and that
all kinds
clip
of wrong.
of if I leave, is it okay to leave? And then the thing says, I'm going to miss you. Like, how manipulative. Like,
well, I mean, it's nice, right? Like that's the nice thing to say. I will miss you,
but that's not
you
what
should
the kid
definitely go.
interprets. The kid interprets it as, I guess I need to stay home from school today because I don't want this talking monkey to be sad that I went to school.
Or it discovers, or the kid discovers over time that, people's wants and needs aren't actually important. I don't really care, as a coping mechanism to get around this overly clingy toy.
Yeah.
And this becomes a long-term psychological, emotional effect on children. And we already have a problem with us not having great emotional intelligence as individuals in this country, especially as boys. And now we're going to layer this shit on top of it. Like, I mean, honestly, if somebody can make it like something that actually increases EQ for kids this way, awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be so cool. Like, actually, are you actually feeling angry? Are you actually feeling fearful? Like, let's talk about these things and like drive down into it. I don't trust the AI model to do this. But it's a wonderful thought and idea if they can actually kind of expand it into the space. But the people making these decisions don't give a fuck. Like, their only job is to make you keep buying this shit and keep paying this subscription to the service for this toy.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. As soon as they make a real-life actionable R2-D2 and C-3PO, I'm going to buy them. Shut up and take my money. I want those in my house.
Yeah.
But I'm an adult and I can make that choice.
Yes.
And regret it later. So.
Yeah. And your human protocol droid is also going to come with a freemium plan that you're not going to have to pay for the actual subscription for, which we're all going to go for because it's cheap. And it's going to run ads for shit that we don't need. Like,
I'm happy to translate that for you right after this message.
Yeah, here's Goldenrod's boner pill. Like, this is an insane thing that we're like opening up and unleashing on the world.
Yes. Speaking of lovable characters that are embedded into our lives, many of them now belong, or I guess are melded into the world of OpenAI, as Disney has reached a deal investing $1 billion into OpenAI. Trying to wrap my head around this move, and you're a smarter man than me, so I'm going to ask you to explain to me. So Disney gives them $1 billion and something like 200 characters, all animated characters, so they're not like actual actors whose faces and personas have been taken over, but they are now sort of being injected into the models to be able to create content. And part of this arrangement is for Disney to be able to own any of the content that gets created with those tools and then throw them up on Disney, because being the sucker I am, if it says Star Wars, I'm going to watch it. I don't care who made it.
Yep. So basically what they're doing is they have licensed part of Sora, and it's a cross-licensing agreement. So basically they allow the folks at Sora to go through and use their images and their iconography for these different characters and for these different brand names and trademarks. And in return, anytime somebody uses that, Disney is allowed to have access and ownership of that. Like, that has to be forwarded over to them. So, like, for example, I say, Sora, build me Mickey Mouse fighting Homer Simpson, for example, which Disney owns all of those. It can do that. It can go through and actually have a fight between Mickey Mouse and Homer Simpson. And then Disney can take that and do whatever they want with it. Because if somebody creates some really cool content and has a really good idea that they didn't think about, now I've got crowdsourced content generation that might actually be really good and creative, and they now own it. So you can do all this cool stuff. You can make what you want, enable your creativity towards this, and then Disney can pick it up and go, thanks, that's ours now. Thank you for using our intellectual property. And they own it outright because of the way the EULAs are written. So if you want to do creative things on Sora and build creative things on there, you better stay the fuck away from those Disney things. Don't even mention them, because you're getting into a legal fight with Disney folks. And the Mouse's legal house is much bigger than yours.
Yeah, they just tossed $1 billion at this little problem to make it go away, basically.
Yeah. Well, not to go away, to capitalize on it. Like, this is a huge economic motivator for them. Like, they don't want to pay writers, they don't want to have to pay producers, they don't want to have to pay animators. This makes it so they don't have to, and people have to use their own subscriptions to build this shit. So they're paying for it. Like, people are paying for the right to use this tool to make it worthwhile. And Disney collects money off of it, and OpenAI provides the compute platform to make those things work. So it's a huge
they
benefit.
also and so Disney also is being given access to these tools to create that content. So the team at Disney is also going to now replace, humans and be able to just go, let's make a new Toy Story 6 and whip it up here and let's have it done by noon.
Yeah.
And done, right? We don't have to go back to the old-fashioned way of making movies.
Well, and they own the voice rights to those characters as well.
Yeah.
And Sora's really good at emulating voices. So, I mean, you're probably not going to hear Tom Hanks anymore, and you're not going to hear Tim Allen. Like, you're going to hear a digital representation of them with their characters. And it's probably going to be really, really good.
Yeah.
And probably, Toy Story 5 or whatever winds up being excellent, and we all love it. And we're like, okay, we give in. It's good. Like,
the thing that I wonder about this, because I've been seeing this thing coming for a long time, but like, I'm just so curious about how long Elvis is going to be in our world, and Frank Sinatra and Ryan Reynolds, and like all these characters that are like a big deal in our lifetime in the last 100 years.
Forever.
Right. There will be no more new great actors because we'll just keep going to the well and putting Tom Hanks in everything. And so in the year 2837, they're still going to watch Tom Hanks in the new whatever, right? Like, it's just so sad to me that like we won't progress beyond now if this continues.
But we will, because we crave novelty, right? Like, we'll go through and...
But we'll just make it up. We won't need a human. We'll just make some new pretty blonde person.
Exactly.
And make them the big deal.
Exactly. I mean, these aren't going to be naturally grown and organically derived. Like, this is the GMO of human content. There's no doubt. Like, I mean, that's definitely... I mean, that's already happening. So, being able to go through and like feature map over top of people's faces, like, you can have an actor in there basically wearing, point mapping functions on there, and then they can animate things over the top. The newest Call of Duty Black Ops, like the characters in it are like, they're actors and actresses that and they're moving and talking like people and their faces move. It's just, they've done some coloring over the top of it to make it look good and put them in these virtual environments. And it's friggin' amazing. Like, Avatar is going to be the bar that everyone, not even the bar, the floor where everybody starts. Because it's just going to be that good.
I guess this is good news for live theater and live music, is that if you ever want to have a human interaction, that's pretty much going to be the only way you have left, because everything else is going to be AI created and pumped into your feeds and your streaming devices.
Well, and I mean, how many bands nowadays only play part of their music when they're on stage because they're going through and they're using mixing tools and everything else to like do that? I mean, we've been living in this augmented reality world for a very, very long time. And I mean, eventually we're going to stop calling it augmented reality and just go, this is our new reality. This is how we live. But we're definitely using computers to augment the way that we interact with things, work with things, and really our interpretation of the world is going to be going through the lens and the filter of all these different tool sets. And this goes back to the kids problem. Like, the earlier we get them used to interacting with this, the more comfortable they're going to be with interacting with their future robot overlords, which may or may not be.
You read my mind. Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to take it back to that exact point, because this is part of me. Part of me is I'm the old man. I'm on my front porch and I'm saying, get off my lawn with your AI and your nonsense. And the other part of me is going like, don't live in the 90s.
Right.
Like, maybe if this is evolution, maybe my kid needs the talking AI toy when they're 3 years old, so that by the time they're 15, they're able to compete and know what's going on in the world. Like, maybe this is my need to evolve and just accept reality.
Well, and here's the other part of that, is that you can evolve, you can accept this being the new reality, and you can evolve and you can grow. But what happens when all this shit falls apart? Like, we already know what happens when we lose the phone book. We get a new phone and we don't have access to our phone book. We don't have anybody's telephone numbers. We can't communicate with anybody. We're dead on the ground because this phone gave us the ability to look things up by name and did this mapping for us. Used to be way back in the day when you go to websites, you had to go to IP addresses before you could go to friendly names, domain names. You can, keep going back. It used to be that people had to fucking walk everywhere or take a horse, and now we have cars. And it used to be that people used to have to take ship rides across the ocean in vast distances. Now we have planes. Like, things have evolved, things have changed, things have grown. We have collectively as a society moved our way up. And these technologies, when they become things that are ubiquitous, can make it into the hands of the masses very, very quickly, become transformative. Well, those other technologies, like cars and airplanes and fucking regular POTS line telephones and having indoor plumbing, like all these things took time to evolve, and the early adopters were there to help work kinks out and make things better. Cell phones, smartphones, it happened very, very quickly, but there were generations and there were iterations, and it's really easy to see how much better, the iPhone 1 is compared to the iPhone of today. And really, I mean, I think they kind of stopped from a real feature innovation perspective in the 10, 11, 12 era. But now we're at iPhone 17. Mm-hmm. So I can get these slight little tweaks to make things better, but the new little tweaks that they're putting in them are AI. And these AI things open things up quite substantially. We have not had the same kind of back pressure with adoption of AI. It's just gone everywhere all at once. Everyone says this is the new technology that you have and you have to support. Microsoft upped their Office 365 subscriptions by a couple of bucks, and their statement was, oh, now you get all of the Copilot stuff for free. Like, wait a minute, what if I didn't want all the Copilot stuff? What if I didn't want all these things? Yeah, we don't care. You're paying for it. Oh, okay. Well, guess what? You might not want this smart toy. You might not want these smart things on your phones and your cars and your televisions, but you're going to pay for it because the people making this shit want this thing to happen because it's another avenue for them to make money. And we don't have the back pressure to stop it because there's nothing preventing us from these phones that are in our pockets all the time and the various iterations of that, whether it be smart appliances or anything else. The Internet of Things has made it so anything with an internet connection has access to these kinds of models, and they are going to be coordinated and they are going to be used against you.
So this again is my question. We watched this news clip together.
Yep.
Where at the end we didn't share the witty banter that was happening at 9 a.m. or whatever this was airing.
Right.
But there's, oh my God, this is terrifying. This is scary. We shouldn't do this. We shouldn't buy these things. I'm telling you the same thing. I wouldn't buy this for my kids. This scares the hell out of me. But millions of people will buy these things, and those kids will be brought into this world to be introduced to these things and have ways of interacting with them that the kid who didn't get the toy won't have.
Yeah.
And I guess I just part of me that I come back to the old man on the porch argument. Like, who am I to get in the way of progress? Like, if that's the world we're heading toward, I don't have the power to stop it, and me not making that purchase doesn't stop it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Like, how do you prepare your kid for all the terrible machinations of things that are going to come at them in the real world? And that means you got to give them the tools to know how to use things. Like, way back in the day, we had to teach kids how to use guns consistently because they had to potentially fight off, bears or wolves or anything else out there. You had to teach kids how to make fire because that's how you stay warm and so you can cook and you can actually keep yourself from freezing to death.
See, this is great. The toys can just teach you now. I mean, they literally just
right.
showed them how to find and light a match.
Exactly. But that's kind of part of this. Like, the functional capabilities and the ways of augmenting people to make them more effective in the real world go up dramatically with these types of tools. It doesn't prevent the need, or it doesn't subsume the need for oversight. And that oversight really needs to be parents paying attention to it and locking in. And parents are already too busy, which is why they sit them down in front of these toys to begin with. Mainly because they're too busy looking at their own fucking phones being sucked in by their own AI.
I was just going to say that.
Like, unless we're going to actually figure out how to really disconnect from these things and try to balance these things, no one's going to help you with that. Like, you're going to have to come up with this game plan on your own for how you raise your children. But more importantly, you need to come up with this game plan for how to raise yourself in this new fucking world. Yeah. Because it is a new world. It is something different. And it changes all the time. And yes, it could come crashing down at any given point in time and the entire power grid could collapse. Yes, like all kinds of terrible, awful things could happen. And I hope that you took that time while you had those little AI toys to figure out how to make fire and how to do other interesting things, because you might need it. And regardless of where these things land, if you actually have to solve a problem that you know will be a problem, you better remember how to solve it without an electronic device with you. Because how you solve it today, some company might come along and say, we've decided we no longer want people to solve it this way without paying us a subscription. That's coming. That's happening. So if you like a thing and you like the way a thing works, you better keep it. I mean, Spotify is a great example of this. I have so many different iterations of different bands' music that I bought as CDs and singles and everything else that I turned into MP3s and put on my computer. And I stopped worrying about storage on my iPhone because I'm like, Spotify has all this music. It's just fine. And then you go to those artist sections and they're missing songs that I love. Like, oh shit, this isn't there. Or there's different versions. I'm like, oh, this isn't what I want to hear. Imagine that with everything. And that's what's coming. Like, reality is no longer static. It is very dynamic. It changes. It's going to be manipulated. Facts are going to move. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to get angry because your mental and cognitive map of the world is going to be shifting sands as opposed to anything solid.
I'm going to try to end this with something hopeful. And you mentioned the power grid going down.
Yeah.
And where I live, literally right now, where I live right now, there are roads washed out, towns underwater. Like there's a massive flooding where I live, and I'm sure down where you are in Washington, same there. But a couple days ago, in preparation for winter storms, the power company had a planned power outage, and when it happened later in the day than we hoped, and we ended up having the neighbor's kid come over, and everybody was hanging out. And as the house got darker and darker, we have our little solar generator that had the one lamp on, and we're just living like it's the 1800s or whatever. And the kids got bored, and they found a pack of glow sticks, like kind of bendy glow sticks, and they came up with this thing where they made a stick figure out of it, basically taped it to their bodies and danced around in the dark, so it looked like this creepy blue like stick man dancing around the house. For 2.5 hours. We all laughed out loud at each other at this analog way of playing that I hadn't seen in my house in a very long time. Yeah. Like they got out the board game. We were going to do that, and it started getting dark, and they got distracted by the glow sticks. But we laughed our asses off for hours. And so the hopeful thing here is that when the digital society collapses, I think there's still something inherent in us that can figure out how to make sticks and rocks fun toys to play with, and we can figure out a way to get back in touch with ourselves without being plugged in. My little 2-hour experiment proved it. I hope on a broader scale, when and if that happens, that theory holds.
I think it's safe to say that humans will figure out how to fuck off and have fun no matter what happens. Like, I think if you lock 3 people in a room with nothing but whiteboards and pens, they'll probably figure out a way to have fun. Like they'll start drawing stuff and playing tic-tac-toe when they don't have access to other things. Because when we get bored, we start trying to figure out distractions. And these devices are awesome distractions. And they're really functional tools, but they are the best distraction things that we could hope for at a societal level. Not best as in best for society, but best at distracting people and keeping them from being able to do some of the stuff they want to do.
Yep.
All that being said, you should definitely step outside and go do something with your kids that's not connected to a screen or a digital technology, and maybe take off your fitness tracker when you go and do it, and try to be disconnected and try to be in meat space exclusively as much as possible.
Yeah, it definitely made me, that night I was thinking about, like, we need like at least a once a week device free day. Like we get home from school, put everything in a box, leave it alone. Yeah. And then like once a month, we just shut the power off and let's just see what happens. Like, I think that's kind of a fun thing I want to experiment
with. I can tell you what would happen in my house. People would say, turn the power back on.
I'm sure that'll be step one.
If it was for the whole day. And then the next day, it would be resetting every fucking clock in my house that's not connected to the internet. So
that is the annoying
on the
part.
Right time and date.
And just imagine you'll soon have to subscribe to the tool that then reprograms the clock because you won't be able to do it manually.
Exactly, because they'll make it too difficult. They'll be like, all right, go figure out how to write this in YAML. And then the AI will create some new language that none of us can decipher. It's already doing this. But yes, I'm going to doom scroll here if I'm not careful.
All right. Well, that's enough doom and gloom. Hopefully there's a little bit of hope and optimism there to take away from this episode. We're going to share the links to these articles and to some of the things being discussed around these toys so that you're able to check them out. Those are going to be at our website, brobots.me. And that's also where you're going to find a new episode from us next Monday morning. Thanks so much for listening. Pass this on to somebody who might need to hear it and not buy this shit for their kids. Help them out a little bit. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next Monday.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.